Red Sox fans have long been hearing the Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be a tough play. It's over. And the Kings have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Woo! We are live. We are the best sports podcast on the planet. This is Triple Shot Sports. I am your host, Brandon Combs, joined as always by the Soup Boss. Soup, how we doing, buddy?
What's up, man? Hey, on the planet, the way I'm feeling after that Bruins win, baby, make it the universe. All the frustration just melted. It just took the 2 overtimes, and I feel so good. Everything is back to normal.
My Hawks are battling too, man. They didn't look so good the other night, and then through the first period, they didn't look too good tonight, but they started coming alive. They're tied right now, so
yeah, their goalie just made a monster save right on the edge. Yeah. So they're playing tough. You and I keep saying it. People keep laughing at me, but you want to watch some awesome sports? Go watch some NHL playoff hockey. Absolutely. You're gonna get crazy stuff.
Absolutely, I go crazy too, man. Every time I hear our intro, man, that Cubs World Series, all the chills come back. They got the best record in baseball right now, man. They're on fire right now too. They're winning the game right now against Milwaukee right now.
Yeah, like I said, I melt into that intro just because I just don't know the next time I'm going to hear something like that. As much as the teams of Boston are still good, our spoiled ability is fading away. So we'll see.
All right, guys. So we got a great show lined up for you. We're gonna, talk our AFC predictions. We're going to get into every division in the AFC today. And we are going to talk a little bit of hockey, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of college football as well. So let's get down to it. So first things first, Soup, the Big 12 announces its fall schedule. And, we were talking the other night about how the NCAA needs to get their stuff together. You got teams opting out, other teams opting in, conferences shutting down, other conferences announcing schedules. What the hell is going on in the NCAA?
Yeah, and they've stayed completely silent still throughout all those aspects. Now they did come out and say, at least I gave them credit for this, the fact that players that are not able to play or opt out for any reason will have the ability to go back and have their eligibility reset for the following season. So kudos to them for allowing these players and these young students the ability to not stress too much when it comes to that. With that said, they still haven't said anything. You've literally got the aspect where the Big Ten, you've got the conference pretty much saying, if you don't like it, Nebraska, you can get the hell out. And Nebraska today had to come out and say, well, no, we're committed. But then the Big 12 had sources that they said, hey, open arms, come back. We'd love to have you. You got all this drama going on. I get you don't have a commissioner, but you have leadership with the NCAA. You have talking heads. You have people. I said it in our last broadcast 2 nights ago. You've got people that can come out and just make a statement, do something. Yeah. Our last broadcast, we had the Big 12. It broke. You said you had someone that knew coaching staff at Kansas State, and I had people down here telling me the opposite, even though the whole schedule thing come Thanksgiving still slightly confuses me how make things work, but they came out instead and said, no, we're playing, and got people wondering, super conference, how is this going to work? I mean,
and so much for Michael Buckheister's sources. I mean, Michael Buckheister came out with his sources, said the Big 12 was next, and I guess his sources were a little bit off, but look, I mean, I'm excited.
Yes, I got the better sources.
Yeah, the idea of a super conference really excites me. The idea that, the NCAA players could go out there potentially right now with this season and the way it's shaping out. I wouldn't be surprised to go see them try and create a players union, to be honest with you.
Oh, this is finally the first step. People have talked about it. Yeah. This is finally going to kick that off. They don't have time give credit to a bunch of people on Sports Soup that said, hey, it's a great idea, but they don't have time this season. But this is going to start it for sure. I think we have a players' union next year or the year after.
Yeah, and these teams that still want to play, like teams in the Big Ten, like your Michigans, your Penn State, your Wisconsin, those teams that are big name schools, go independent. I'm all for it. Look, I'm all for anarchy. I love anarchy, especially anarchy in sports. Like, I was a big proponent of.
I don't know what it means, but I like it.
Yeah, no, see, like, I love anarchy in sports. I think my favorite one that I thought of was a WWE scenario in the NFL where a couple years back when the Patriots traded Jimmy G, and it was widely known that Billy B wanted to keep Jimmy G and get rid of Tom Brady and trade him. I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl and Bill Belichick rips off his shirt in the press conference? He's got a Jimmy G jersey, which the Patriots, and goes to San Francisco. Like, so no, I'm a big fan of anarchy.
I told you, episode 1, you're a WWE writer. You just proved it, man. You just gave me the ammunition, locked and loaded.
Better writers, so hey, I'm in if they want somebody there. They're awful lately. WWE. I used to watch them all the time, man. Now I can't remember the last time.
I just go back to my nature boy Ric Flair. I just go back to old school footage on him. I don't watch any of it anymore, unfortunately.
That's what my kids make me watch. That's when I watch.
I do love still at the pool. I think you saw Harrison did a video, former Steelers and Patriots player, where he superplexes and does all these wrestling moves with the kids in the pool. I was doing that for 2.5 hours yesterday. It was fantastic.
But getting back on track, I am a big fan of anarchy, and I would love to see all these teams that want to play in conferences that have shut down to get together and say, you know what, the hell with it. We're probably not playing for a national championship this year because it's not going to be sanctioned by the NCAA. And so let's just get together.
That we know of. We have no idea what the hell NCAA is thinking.
I can't understand. I can't see a scenario where the NCAA goes up against its conferences and says, yes, we'll still support all the teams that want to play and give you a national championship. I don't see. I can't see the NCAA doing that.
What if the SEC? Like, let's be honest. Who's your baby in college football right now? Who's your moneymaker? Who's your bread?
Every 10 years that changes.
It does, but right now in 2020, the SEC is your baby. If they come forward and go, not only are we doing this, but we still want a format playoff. When we want Big 12 and ACC, we want them as a part of it. We still want a playoff. We still want a title game. If not, we're going to try to start doing things with more, whether player unions or heck, even athletic unions where the schools on their own kind of format, their own type of leadership and take the NCAA and kick them out more. I think the NCAA kind of has to at least consider it, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA needs to grow a backbone right now. We haven't heard anything from the NCAA. They have been.
They did drink a beer and just
silent during all of this.
Yeah,
like I don't know what the NCAA is thinking. I don't know how they haven't come out with a game plan on how to play these games. They've let everybody down. I know you went off on a tangent last week about this, and I mean you're 100% correct. The NCAA has let their players and their teams and their coaches and all of their boosters, they've let everybody down. They never come out with a viable option on how to play the season, even though every other sport is playing. The NFL's still playing.
Yeah, the NCAA is sitting there in the top of the lighthouse, and their players and their teams and everything are out swimming, and half of them have sharks coming, and half are in rocks, and a third are in rocks, and third are just fine. And instead of them in the lighthouse being like, hey, you need to go here, hey, we're overlooking everything, they come out and just go, players that don't get to play or get eaten by sharks, you can play next year. And they just walk back into the lighthouse. Like, that's it. That's all they've done. They haven't done a damn thing. Like,
Mike Reeves from Twist is joining the show. Mike Reeves, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for the love.
Thanks, Mike.
TJ Burns says Taker.
That backswing in his made a profile pic.
Yeah. TJ Burns, Taker's still the GOAT. I'm a big Shawn Michaels guy, man. I thought Shawn Michaels was the best performer I ever watched.
Bastard took my man out. Ric Flair. Gave him the I'm sorry, sweet chin music. Grown men blubbering for scripted fighting like babies.
Yeah. And then TJ also says, just put Oklahoma, LSU, Bama, and Ohio State in the playoff and let them battle it out. Let these kids play. Hey, look, man, you forgot about Notre Dame. Put my boys in there. Get the hell out of here.
What LSU? I get they were monstrous last year, but then they lost so many of their superstars.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even the best second team in the SEC this year.
Michigan,
Georgia is.
Michigan might be formidable this year too if they could get a season going.
Michigan to me is the same as what I said to you when it came to the Angels. Like, they do some great things to put together the hype for a team, but it's the same thing year in, year out. I refuse. I mean, it's getting that point with my boys, the Longhorns, but at least they still had the Vince Young and they still had the Colt McCoy era, and there was a little bit of fight in there for a little bit. And, when that Notre Dame game, I guess when Notre Dame was supposed to be good and they beat them and both of them ended up sucking. But, I mean, I don't know.
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you guys doing today? Thanks for joining.
Strikeout.
Love you guys.
Drinking my Sammys.
Tim Leonard. Wow, can't even right now. Tim, what are we talking about? What are you laughing about? Talking about what it takes? Or are you talking about the TJ Burns comment here? I think you're talking about the TJ Burns.
Maybe that. Either that, or it's because someone said something about the Taker, and you went HBK, and I went Ric Flair. Maybe he just thinks we're all terrible, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. We just turned into a WWE podcast. This is going to do great.
All right, so on to the next topic.
More one beer in. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit in the intro. We're talking a little bit of hockey. Your Bruins, overcame the odds yesterday with the overtime win after that crazy Columbus Blue Jackets game. Sent them into playing in the next day because they couldn't get it in time because they were playing like 74 overtimes or something like that. It was absolutely insane.
It just feels so bad for their goalie setting that record and going that hard and still being lived. I'm glad they won today.
Yeah. 85 saves and you lose. How do you lose?
Yeah. That's what the goalie has the right to literally look at his team and go, guys, what else do I have to do?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. He was phenomenal in that game and then ultimately lost. They did come back and win today, so that series is even at 1.
Yep.
The Hawks and Knights are still tied at 3.
Going in
overtime, and the Knights are up 1-0 on that series. The Hawks looked the other night like I thought they were going to look for that entire series versus Edmonton. They looked outplayed, they looked outmatched, they looked outskilled, and then today, I mean, they're just battling. They're fighting. They're showing up. If they come out here, and I like it if for the Hawks if they can score quick. The longer these overtimes go, I think it favors Vegas, but we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Your Bruins play here shortly.
I got a notification it started, which is weird because the same channel that has it for some reason shows still your boys versus the Knights. So I'm confused, but that's okay. The confusion keeps you answered.
The Avalanche are up 1-0 on the Coyotes. You got Vancouver up 1-0 on the Blues. They destroyed St. Louis. Man, did I love seeing that, even though it was Vancouver.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis, to me, I know that they walked in top 4. I'm sitting here talking as a Bruins fan, obviously, who watched them being one of the best and were just terrible in the round robin. But I know St. Louis obviously came to Boston and won that cup last year. Good for them. Great story, blah, blah, blah. But when I watched them play this year, they got really, really lucky because I live in Oklahoma City, so I got to catch a lot of their games, because we don't really have it. I mean, Dallas Stars, but St. Louis is close enough. They got so lucky in a lot of games, like it to the point where I was like, if they aren't finding a way to get that magic back, they're not going to be as good. And I think we're seeing it in the playoffs right now. And the Coyotes, hey, you had a great round robin, good for you. But I think what we're seeing right now is the truth behind who the Coyotes are, because the Avalanche just they're doing well. They're doing great things right now.
The Canadians, man, they played up with the Flyers. The Flyers looked really. The Flyers won, and the Flyers are up 1-0. But the Canadians still look pretty good. I mean,
did you see that Carey Price stick save?
It was insane. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
And did you see the defender on the Canadians as that puck came flying? His life flashed. He didn't even mean to be in front of the goal. He just turned and he saw that slap shot coming, and his whole life flashed. And Carey Price saved that man's life, and he saved the game at that moment. They still lost, but
then what is it? You got the Flames leading the Stars 1-0. That's going to be a good series. That one, first round 7 games, correct? We are going back to 7 now, right?
Seven-game series. 7-game series.
Yeah, and then you got Islanders Capitals. The Islanders taking out the Capitals in game 1.
Hey, the Capitals. Hey, listen. I know. We talk about Sidney. It's always been in hockey. Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin here in the last 10 years or so. I know your boy Kane is part of it and everything like that, but Sidney, everyone likes to see him lose, and Ovechkin had this surge the last 2 years. I don't know if you've watched the games, and even though the Capitals beat the Bruins in that last game in the round robin, he looks exhausted. He looks like a guy that literally took that team and put him on his back alone for 2.5 seasons, and it is hitting him. He's not skating at the speed. Yeah. He's not skating to the point. He's losing on guys coming under that are half the size, and normally you'd see him wrap his arm around, get to that puck. He's just letting them take it.
I think he finally got his cup, and he was just. I think
the way he started playing this season, he was absolutely on fire. He looks like the time off actually did him wrong. It looks like he may have relaxed too much.
There was a long time where I kept saying that I think that Ovechkin is going to be the absolute best player to never win a cup. And I've been to the point where, he's one of those guys who he's a very selfish player. You know what I mean? If the puck's on his stick, he's trying to look for a way to shoot. That's what Ovechkin does. And
they want him to.
For a long time, I just thought he was going to be. And then he won the cup, and for a guy like that, I'm always happy for guys like that who win cup. I'm happy for guys who are great players that finally get their hands on one.
He's the Marc Messier of our generation.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what he is.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Everybody hates him.
Everyone hates him. He, like you said, he wants to score. If he's got a chance, even if there's 2 guys in front of him, he's going to do it. The problem is with both him and Messier, though they have times where you're like, what the heck? More times than not, it works out enough. But you need to keep that energy. He just doesn't. He looks so. I wonder if he worked out during that whole time off. He almost looks like he thought they weren't going to come back. He looks exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, guys, you guys out there watching, I know lots of you guys are joining us. We've already got a bunch of comments coming in.
Yeah, baby. Thank you, guys.
Look, we got your brothers joining us again. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, Steven.
Hello, sir.
Shared from my timeline from my U.S. friend. Yes, sir. Thank you,
brother.
Appreciate it. And
stay safe, man. Miss you.
You guys, for all you guys that are joining us right now on Facebook and YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe, share to whatever platforms you can share to. We enjoy all the love. We appreciate you guys. We are on the Triple Shot Sports podcast channel on YouTube, and you can find us on Triple Shot Sports on Facebook as well, and at 3 Shot Sports on Instagram and Twitter. So definitely do everything that you can. We announced before that we, are in the works with it's not quite finalized yet, but we are in the works for a sponsorship with Big Dog Poker. They have, yes, but we're just finalizing details. And then some exciting news came out. For me, it was exciting, and I know Supa is pretty excited about it as well.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not sure how many of you guys have ever heard. I like hip hop. I like rap. I like all forms of music. I listen to country. I listen to rock. I listen to everything. But hip hop,
classic and rap, folk music. Mr. Combs loves him some sweet jazz.
Not so much, but So there's a Chicago guy who is on YouTube, and his name is Mises. And just a phenomenal talent. I mean, I got a bunch of his stuff on my Spotify, and when it comes on in the truck, when I'm playing my list, the volume always goes up when this guy comes on. And so I reached out to him, and I said, look, we can't play too much music because we get flagged on YouTube and all that stuff. So, we'd be honored if we play some of your stuff, and if you would, sponsor us and let us play some stuff for you. And Mises wrote back, and he said, "Go ahead." He said he would love it, and feel free. So we're gonna be playing some good music here on our breaks, and we thank Mises for opening up and allowing us to use his music for our benefit. I mean, the guy is ultra talented. He's got very, very good messages. Like he does. I mean, there is a lot of swearing, and he even says it in some of his songs. He says, "I know I'm a Christian, but I swear a lot." And so,
no.
There is some strong language.
Don't mind. I don't give
this guy's shit. Got some messages out there. He's got a song called "News," and NEWS stands for Never Ever Watch This Shit. So he's got some good messages, and the guy is a great listen. So if you guys are into it and you want to look him up, even if you don't listen to that form of music, just listen up and listen to the words that he's speaking, because a lot of the stuff he's talking about needs to be heard, especially in today's world. So
do you hear that, YouTube? We got his permission. We got his permission. I swear, if you flag this, drop kick you.
So that being said, we are going to go ahead and take our first break, and we will be back here in about 90 seconds. So why don't you guys go ahead and enjoy a little bit of Mises for us, and we will be back here shortly.
Can't see the writing on the wall. All on social media, writing down your thoughts, writing on your walls. Shit, I'm guilty of it too. Few comments on my baby coming glue. Had to put my phone down, pick up my Bible, spent time praying in the pews. Spent time praying for the youth, including my now I'm raising too. Boys need to understand what it takes to be a man, stand up for the truth. When you stand on the truth, don't stand out who you say it to. No one's listening when you dissing, they just stand and wait to shoot. So I won't take a knee, I'd rather take two. That's what it takes to see breakthrough. Okay, cool, no, I don't hate you, but understand why I'm taking two. Knees is one for Jesus and the other is to make a truce. Where the hell the fathers? Here when you get your son and get your sons and daughters. Now your sons and daughters, having sons and daughters. Don't know how to raise them cause they ain't been racist daughters. Let's go. Father, where the hell the fathers? Here when you get your son and get your sons and daughters. Now your sons and daughters, having sons and daughters. Don't know how to raise them cause they ain't been racist daughters. Ladies and gentlemen, the issue we face today isn't a matter of color, but a matter of character. If we're going to fix the communities we live in, we must start in our homes, and it must start with the head of the homes. Fathers, where you at?
All right, we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of Mises there. The name of that song is called Our Father. Great message throughout that song. And look, I love this guy's work, so I listen to a lot of his stuff, so definitely check him out over there on Facebook. Again, that's Mises, MESUS. So, all right.
Jesus, but me. Hey, look, before we get going here real quick, Twitter poll time, just real quick. And listen, at 3 Shot Sports, the number 3 Shot Sports on Twitter, we had one of our polls have almost triple what we've ever had before, which was great. But the other two were really low. So remember, I'm going to throw up 3 polls. I may put one up during the show, depending on the breaks we have. But at the end, within a half hour of this show ending, I'm always going to have 3. But my brother Stevie loves some Mises. That's good. That's awesome.
Mike Reed let's go. Jesus, no dumbass Mises.
So let's go through just real quick. We had one. If you could choose only one, MLB, NBA, NHL, or NFL, NCAA football. And then I threw in for a joke for Eric Morrison on Sports Soup. Where's my soccer for choice C? But 100% went to B. Where's my football? Football all day. Give it to me.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Went 100%.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you it was going to happen.
With the Big 12
no
staying
love for baseball.
Yeah, sorry, man. They got to change some things. We talk about it. And, of course, we broke during the show Big 12 was staying in. With the Big 12 staying for fall sports along with the ACC and the SEC, should they look to make a super conference and accept teams from the canceled conferences to fly in the face of the NCAA? Kind of talk about what we're talking about.
Yes, too, right?
And tons of votes on this. And 61.1% said, yeah, super conference. Do it. Fly in the face of the NCAA. So closer to the
that's not 100%.
Yeah, no. Some people said no. Let's not get nuts. That was the other one. But here's my favorite one, Mr. Combs. See, we're gonna walk into football.
I know where we're going here.
Mr. Combs doesn't see DeAndre Hopkins as a top 10 NFL wide receiver going into the 2020 season. He's batshit crazy, right?
Not on that Arizona Cardinals team.
Nah,
No way.
Murray is garbage. Or, yeah, he's insane. 100%. Mr. Combs, you are insane, my friend. Insane.
Well, again, and I've said this before, 100% of those voters are incorrect.
No, you guys are all smart. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and listening to Sports Soup and understanding I'm a man of the people. I'm here for you. I hear you. I hear your hearts.
Okay.
Don't worry. He's going to do what he does over here.
Just because they agree with you on that and DeAndre Hopkins, and they're all wrong, by the way, doesn't mean that you have to go sit there and brown nose with them.
Anyway, I don't need brown nose with
speaking of NFL and speaking of, downfalls and guys who aren't going to make it, let's talk about some AFC predictions, and we'll start here with your beloved AFC East. And so the way we're going to do this is we're going to go ahead and say what our records are for each team in the division, and then we will have
Pat should have 6 of these though. That's the only thing I don't understand. I mean, lucky you over here. I'm gonna go backwards to have more, but
they ain't gonna have one this year. I'll tell you that much.
They have 6 right there.
They ain't even gonna come close to having one this year. So
I would like everyone to know as we go into this. Listen, I put this disclaimer up. I'm not trying to take up too much time, Mr. Combs. I'm probably driving you nuts. But listen, a lot of times you watch prediction shows with people that make a heck of a lot of money, more than the $0 that Mr. Combs and I are making for working hard to give you guys a great show here. But what they do is they look at these schedules, they look at the teams, and they start to analyze them. They look at, all the stuff, like are they playing home, away, what's the factors, blah, blah, blah. But then they go through and, like, for instance, they'll be like, oh, and I've caught this on shows. Well, I'm going to call an upset here with this team beating the Chiefs, something like that. But then when they go to the Chiefs' schedule, they haven't remembered they call those things, and they go for the Chiefs, oh, that's an easy win. And they don't actually balance out. They're not accurate. So when they come through with their final tallies, they're not even accurate. They if you count up the wins and losses, it doesn't equate to what could actually be possible. So I want you to know that both Mr. Combs and I have gone through. I spent half the day playing board games with my daughter because she's all about quality time, telling her we couldn't go to the pool. But I sat there and one by one, cross-checking everything because I want my numbers to at least be accurate. You might not like my numbers, but at least they're accurate numbers.
Same here, man. I went through game by game, broke it down, and I made sure that if I had a team sweeping a division series, that I didn't have that same team winning when I put in somebody else's numbers. So, look, going through this, one of the things that I realized, man, every conference in the AFC has a tough out-of-conference schedule.
They do.
Man.
All of them.
They're all playing, the Saints. They're playing the Niners. They're getting some tough schedules.
Well, I think that just shows though. I think that shows just how good the NFC is, and we're going to get into that next week. But the NFC, I bring it up. I mean, there's going to be teams that aren't getting into the playoffs in the NFC that are just going to be teams that could have easily gotten in on the AFC. I think you see a little bit of a shift this year.
Yeah, 100%. So in the AFC East, I'm going to go first since you're a Pats fan. I'm going to go first. That way you can have the floor because I don't know what you're going to have as far as the Patriots, but I don't have them doing nearly enough this year. So I'll go ahead and go first. So with the AFC East, I have the Jets at 3-13. I have the Miami Dolphins at 5-11. I have the New England Patriots also at 5-11. And I have the Buffalo Bills at 10-6, winning the division. Buffalo is just one of those teams this year coming out, the addition of Stephon Diggs, They've already had a top 5 defense. They are absolutely going to win this division, and it's not even going to be close. The Patriots, once they signed Cam Newton, I did say that Cam Newton was going to start for that team, and they went from a 6-10 team to a 10-6 team. And then Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, and pretty much half of the Patriots defense opted out of the season. So for me, that brought them down a whole lot because that defense was going to be what carried them this year. I think Cam Newton's good enough to spark that offense a little bit, but he's not good enough to go out there and do the things that need to be done to win more than 5 games this year. And so I think even with Cam Newton, I think at some point they do flip the switch, and they will have to go see what the rookie has. But I have them at 5-11. Buffalo winning the division at 10-6. What says you, Supa?
Yeah, I mean, I completely get the concern. Obviously, as a Pats fan, you don't sit there and everyone else had players go out. Not to say that there weren't teams that had some pretty good players opt out because of the COVID situation. The Jets had a great player that opted out. It happened. But you're talking about some really good, important people, Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung. Yeah. The only aspect to me that makes a difference is when we lost Tom Brady, we didn't lose Bill Belichick. And he's been shown time after time to take your local garbage bagger, grocery store bagger, and to turn him into a bona fide superstar in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that's going to happen in full extent. The defense does get a hit, but also remember, you still have the McCourty twins. They decided to stay. You still have arguably the best cornerback in the game is Stephon Gilmore. So there's going to be some challenges. They lost Van Noy. They lost a couple other players, but, it's going to hurt them for sure. But I don't think 5-11 that bad because I think either Cam Newton is going to have a fire lit under his rear end. He's going to use this year to do well enough, or the young kid took a year under Tom Brady. Remember, people put him at a second-round pick before the Pats got him. He just dropped down, and we've seen it with Bill before. Yeah. So,
and as you're saying that, I have said a bunch that, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, you had God on the sidelines and you had Jesus as your quarterback.
Yep.
But I think, I think that a lot of people give most of Tom's credit to Bill, and to be honest with you, I think most of that credit should have been on Tom. I think Tom Brady is the one that ran that system. I think he is the one that, obviously Bill created the system that Tom ran, but Tom made plays and Tom made things happen, and losing him is a huge deal. And even with Cam Newton, man, if they start out like I plan on them starting out, I don't see Cam Newton lasting long because, as we saw in Carolina, he doesn't take very well to losing, and he hangs his head. And Bill Belichick is not going to put up with that shit.
Well, no, and the other thing, and I've said it over and over and over, especially on Sports Soup, I know a lot of people are excited about it, and it's good to be excited about it because here's the thing. I think, Bill, you've already seen Cam come out with a couple different comments where he doesn't take and tear down the Carolina Panthers, but he makes it clear he's driven. And think about what made Tom Brady so special. You're 100% right. I give Bill and Brady equal credit. I hate people that say that Tom was just a system quarterback. That's Trent Dilfer. And I'm tired of people saying Bill Belichick wasn't anything good without Tom Brady. He has a whole resume of where he was good. I mean, he brought the Browns to an actual aspect of a winning team, for crying out loud, in the playoffs. But with that said, I mean, it's still going to be a challenge. It's still going to be rough. Josh is a big Sam Darnold fan, and we're going to get into stuff with them. But I'm sorry, Josh, if you looked at the Jets schedule, I actually put my thought process here with Le'Veon Bell. I said, you know what? I think he's going to have a better year. Sam Darnold isn't going to be seeing ghosts as much, and he's not going to get sick from kissing his cousin down south or something. I don't know, whatever the heck happened there. But I still sat there, and like you said, I went through that schedule, and I was like, holy crap. This is absolutely insane. The poor Jets. I'm right with you, man. I got the Jets 3-13 as well. Crazy thing is that I wanted to even give the Dolphins more of a credit. I went through that schedule. I was like, this is insanity. It is insane. I have both the Dolphins and the Jets both at 3-13. I give the Pats a little bit more credit to you just because of the fact that if Cam Newton can be taught to not have to feel like he has to go get 2 yards and drop his shoulder and run into a linebacker and can learn to throw the ball away. It's okay. Throw the ball away. Or go out and try to throw it at a guy's feet, see if he can scoop it up. You don't have to get the 2 yard, throw your shoulder down, or just learn the aspect of sliding. I've got the Pats though at 9-7. I think they're going to pull some upsets, and I think at the same time they're going to get upset a couple times. I went through that, and I think there's some teams that are going to love the fact that they tore them apart. And then I think they're going to come in. That's the thing. Where they get more of their wins, they're going to be close games. I think they pull it out. But I think those 7 losses, a lot of them are going to be where they get humbled. They're going to get their rear ends handed to them, and I think that's going to benefit them in some way. That Bill Belichick is going to make sure they're going to be. Hey, I've seen it where Bill Belichick's teams have gotten blown out. They're out the next morning at 6 a.m. in the freezing snow in Foxborough, out there running laps. Like, he's an old school coach, and he knows how to get them motivated, and I think he'll do it. But I have them at 9-7. But listen, I said it halfway through last season. I saw it even with my Patriots, quote unquote, running the gauntlet in the AFC East. I watched this Bills team. I loved what I watched. I loved what I saw at Allen. I saw an energy in a team that was growing and getting confident in one another. And I said it last year. The Buffalo Bills will win the division next year, even if Tom Brady stays in the AFC East, which I didn't think he was going to do. And I have them winning. Now, they still have a rough schedule, but I'm going to give them an 11-5. I think that they come out through. They get I don't want to say the seeds because we're probably going to do it later, but I got them winning the division 11-5 comfortably. I don't even think it's going to be one where the Pats are too close near the end. I've got them winning their last 2 games just to get from 7-7 to 9-7. And the Bills were already pretty much got it wrapped up by week 15, 16.
Yeah, no, I don't have no problem with them at 11-5. I think that I think where I have them at, I have their losses. Their 6 losses. I have them to.
Sorry, buddy, your boys just lost.
Oh, I missed it. I turned on the car. I didn't even know the period started.
Yeah, sorry. Overtime loss.
Hey, look, I didn't even expect them to be here. So I'm look, they competed. They're playing hard.
Yeah, build on something.
It's time for them to regroup. I think that I'm not sure Taves will be back next season. To be honest with you.
Probably not. Hockey's a different beast with that.
Yeah. So, at any rate, I have Buffalo losing to Vegas, Kansas City, Seattle, San Francisco. I have them losing a game to the Jets because they always seem to find a way to lose in New York. And then I have them losing to Denver. So, I have them at 10-6. You probably have them beating the Jets twice. I think that's probably where you get your 11-5. And it wouldn't surprise me. If they finish 11-5 or even 7-4, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. I think we're pretty close here. I think 9 wins for the Pats is still.
Man, we're not close there, man. That's a big difference, man. That's a 4-game swing. That's remember, there's 7 teams going into the playoffs this year. That's the difference between your and my number in playoff and not playoffs. Yeah. That's a big swing.
Neither one of us have what drunk ass Jared has. Because you got to be drunk to have this number.
I wish, man. Jared, I wish the enthusiasm that you have as my fellow Boston fan. Attaboy, Alan. Attaboy. I wish I had it, but just like with the Sox earlier this year, it was a bit of a homer pick to put him in the 7th seed. I just thought maybe if there was Erod definitely came back. That's what I was hopping on. But
Jared, people call me a homer, man. Jared is the definition of he keeps saying, don't let the Red Sox get hot. He thinks the Pats are going to be 11-5. All right. Hey, Jared, I'm writing it down.
Yeah, he's the reason why I love where I come from, but it was also the reason why growing sports soup became a bit of a challenge to start. We hung around 150, 200 for a little while because the New England fan base that I knew growing up around there, I had to soak in my Oklahoma people and start to meet some other people from around the country to kind of like, please stay on. Please just tell us Boston fans we're just full of crap. Like, I don't care. Just stay, please. We need this spread out. So,
and then, so where do you have? So I have New England's losses as Seattle. I think Vegas is better. They're definitely going to lose to Kansas City and San Francisco. I have them losing to Buffalo twice. You might have them splitting with Buffalo. I have Buffalo beating them twice. They're going to lose to Baltimore. They're going to lose to Houston. Mm-hmm. They're going to lose to the Chargers. They're going to lose to the Rams, and they're going to lose 1 of 2 to the Dolphins.
So I think I see where we got a little bit of split. So obviously the Bills, I got a split, and I think they're going to win like a 19-17 game against the Bills, which is I think anyone that doesn't think that that's possible with the Bill Belichick team is fooled themselves. Like, I don't care if it's
Brian
Hoyer.
It's really
I don't care if it's Brian Hoyer.
Without Hightower and Chung. That's a totally different looking defense, man.
But again, how many times has he made these guys into? I mean, we don't even talk about Jones, their cornerback. We talk about Gilmore all the time.
Yeah,
Jones, he was the number one rated corner. He was actually number one rated. He didn't go against the number one receivers, but he was number one. But I think where I just found the difference, because I have Hawks. They're losing to the Hawks. They're losing to the Chiefs. They're losing to the Niners. I got one loss against the Bills, losing to the Ravens, losing to the Texans, I got a game losing against the Dolphins, but I found a big chunk of our difference. Listen, you look at where they're going to be playing the Cardinals at home, which I think they'll get a win in a close game, and then they've got time. And Bill Belichick, they're not leaving L.A. That's a back-to-back L.A. series in L.A. against the Rams and the Chargers, and the Rams and the Chargers are going to be traveling the weeks before. Bill Belichick's going to make that a home series. I'm calling the clean sweep. The fact that the Chargers aren't winning anything this season.
Look,
they aren't winning jack
It's hard for me to pick any East Coast team to go to the West Coast and beat a West Coast team. Just like I can't pick a West Coast team to go to the East Coast.
Normally 100%. Like if they were just going there to play one of these two teams, I would completely get it. But where they have the time after the Cardinals game to then go out there and they're going to sit out there for 2 weeks straight. They're not leaving. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
They're literally going to play back-to-back games in that gorgeous stadium that I was going to be able to go with my company and go watch the Patriots play them both, and now I'm not going to be able to. Thank you, COVID. Thank you, 2020. Asshole. Freaking pain in my ass. Hate it.
All right.
But no, that's where I think we got the split right there.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting season. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the quarterback situation too.
Yep.
A lot of people seem to be split. Some people think Cam's going to start, and other people think it's going to be Stidham. I don't know.
Thing. I've had people that still say that Brian Hoyer is still in that team because deep down Bill Belichick actually wants him because he knows the playbook the best. So I even have 40 – I think it's 40, 40, 20 or like 45, 45, 10. There's still Brian Hoyer people out there. I don't think at all.
I don't think you go sign Cam Newton and don't have him as your projected starter. I
think you sign him as cheap as they did with a thought process, just like they did with what was it, Hainsworth, and just said, well, if he can do it, if he can, but if he comes in and he doesn't show us going nuts, he's going to do great. Hasta la vista. And that's my thing. Cam, this fire that the words he's saying, I like.
Right.
It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Discord, by the way.
The AFC North then. In the AFC North,
don't let my Bruins get hot, baby. Don't let my Bruins get hot. 1-0.
I have in the North. I have Cincinnati at 3-13. They're going to be. I don't care who is under center. They're hot garbage. I got Cleveland at 8-8. Cleveland is still Cleveland. They've got a lot to prove. Could they be better? Sure, man. But they've got a tough schedule. And I just don't see them being any better than 8-8 unless they absolutely play 10 times better than what they played last year. I got Pittsburgh at 10-6. And I've got Baltimore at 14-2. So I've got Baltimore winning a whole lot of games. I think Baltimore is the cream of the crop in that division. I think Pittsburgh gets a whole lot better because they do have Big Ben back, and he makes a huge difference. And nobody's going to be smashing his head with a helmet this year. And so, I have the Baltimore winning at 14-2, Pittsburgh at 10-6, Cleveland at 8-8, and Cincinnati at 3-13. What says you, Soup?
Now, listen, have you ever seen Ben Roethlisberger in real life? Let me give you a story.
Actually, yes, I have. I know the person that runs his social media stuff, and I've actually been to a barbecue with Big Ben and his family.
Insane. Okay, I went to a game. I had a friend, the deacon at church I went to. This poor man, devoted Pittsburgh fan with everything except for the Celtics. Loves the Celtics. Long story with his family. Whatever. He had 4 tickets to Pittsburgh New England game. He took 3 of us New England fans to it. And these weren't like great seats. I mean, they were up in Gillette Stadium. And then the Patriots demolished them. But I remember the only thing that whole time, there was 2 drives where Pittsburgh actually scored. And I remember we were up so high, and yet Ben Roethlisberger still looked like he was only 4 rows, like I was sitting 4 rows back. Like, that man is a beast. Anyone try swinging a helmet at him, he's Thanos, one hand snap their neck. Like, ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But here's crazy, man. We're 1 game off. I think this is where the closest we're ever going to be almost on anything to agreeing outside of the NCAA. We're 1 game off on 3 of the 4 teams.
Wow.
The Bengals at 4-12. I think they'll sneak one in here or there that are going to be the upsets, but same thing. I don't think they're great. I think they got a little bit of a benefit of a semi-easier schedule, semi-easier to get 4 wins. But and I'm right with you. I got the Browns at 8-8, and I think it sucks because I am, even as a Longhorns fan, I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan. I love his energy. I love his charisma. I love his focus on his teammates. This is a guy that you put on the football team that you want to rally around, but he just wants to take too many big shots. And everyone was so pumped about Odell Beckham Jr. get on that team. I actually said that was a bad decision. And I think we saw some of it last year. Landry is a great wide receiver for him. I think they needed to get more role wide receivers in there. He too often just wants to go and for the long ball when he doesn't need to. But I got them at 8-8, also hard schedule. I've got the Steelers at 11-5. Listen, that defense, they with Mason Rudolph was actually the worst quarterback last year. And yet that defense carried their asses through far too many games, especially once they got, what's his name, Fitzpatrick, or I can't remember his name, they got from Miami. Absolutely fantastic. Juju, to me, all he needs is a halfway decent quarterback to do well. Washington showed a lot of spark being a young guy there. I actually think that they are going to come back. Big Ben, like I know I didn't put him on my quarterback list because he was injured all last year. We don't fully know how he's going to come back from it, but man, he's looked good in some workout clips. He looks dedicated. He all of a sudden shed the grizzly bear weight and cut the beard, and all of a sudden looks like an NFL star again, which is crazy to me. I thought he was done. He is older, 35, but I think they're actually – I looked at it. I think they'll go 11-5, and the Ravens, I'm only one off you. I think they're 13-3. Listen, Joshua Seavey on Sports Soup, you're going to love this. I rag at him all the time. I've talked about it in our stuff right here. Listen, I call him a running back and a quarterback. I put him on both of my lists. That alone, though, makes him just so dynamic. He's so fast. He's so smart. He's so good at a lot of things. I've made the comment. He has some problems with once he starts running, though. He's so fast. I don't think that so much his arm strength is off. But when you run that fast, I don't care who you are. You run that fast, and then you try to zip a ball accurately at a wide receiver cutting across the field. It's hard. It really is. But, I mean, it doesn't change anything. Not to mention, we talk about Jackson so much because how he lit up the league and got the MVP. Let's not forget, that is still a Ravens defense that knows what they're doing. Great leadership. You thought when Reed and Ray Lewis were gone, that was going to change. The opposite. It just keeps carrying down the line. So I got them at 13-3, and I got the Steelers at 11-5. I think there's going to be 2 formidable teams.
Yeah, we're not too far off. I have the only losses I have for Baltimore, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, losing 1 out of 2 to Pittsburgh. Where you got their losses at?
I got their losses against the Chiefs. I got 1 against the Steelers, and I actually got the Eagles pulling up a bit of an upset on them. I think the Eagles will go in and they'll get an upset on them.
That's in Baltimore too.
It's in Baltimore, but remember, we saw a couple upsets last year. Remember the Browns sat there. You watch Baker Mayfield run like he was a flying angel behind Nick Chubb. I think they're susceptible to that.
Sunday, man. Any given Sunday.
Exactly, and I think the reason why is because you finish off an easy game in Week 5 against the Bengals, and then you have in Week 7 the Steelers, who I think are going to be doing well enough to make a lot of talk. They have the bye week after that. I think they're going to be sleeping a little bit, thinking of that Steelers before the bye week, and the Eagles steal that victory from them.
Okay. Now, Pittsburgh, you have at 11-5. I have at 10-6. Their losses here. Now, tell me which one of these you don't have, or if you have all different ones. I have them losing to Tennessee, Cleveland once, Baltimore once, Dallas, Buffalo, and Cincinnati once. I have Cincinnati pulling off an upset there. What do you got?
Yeah, see, I don't have Cincinnati doing it. I don't think they're there yet. As much as I'd like to see it, I don't at all. Shockingly enough, I put it the same way. and this isn't because I'm high on the Eagles. Listen, I just realized I'm going to say this. I got them losing to the Eagles too. I actually got it where the Steelers are going to, because I had them starting 3-0. They start Giants, Broncos, Texans, and I think they're going to start 3-0. And Tennessee, I think, is just going to smack them so hard in the mouth that the Eagles are going to take advantage of it week 5. I think they're going to face 2 losses there. They'll lose to the Browns. I also have them losing to the Cowboys. I think as much as we rag on Dak Prescott, and as much as I just said the Steelers' defense is good, I think that the matchup with those offensive weapons actually benefits the Cowboys far more there. And then I have them also losing to the Bills. I think the Bills just give them that 17-16 classic Pittsburgh Buffalo type of gridiron shot to the mouth type of game. I think they'll win that.
Okay.
Big Ben's not done, man.
Look,
I'm sorry, Jared.
I'm never shocked when a team in the NFL pulls off an upset on any week. The hardest thing to do, I don't know, have you ever played in a survivor pool?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The hardest thing to do in a survivor pool is make it past week 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Because once you get past week 7 or 8, you usually only have some of your lower seeds left. And man, is it hard to? It's so especially in the NFL.
What's crazy is you only have the lower seeds left, and then you're trying to find the upset, and an upset always occurs, but it's never the one that you pick. I got to week 14 one time. I got second place. That's it. But outside of that, impressive. Yeah, man, week 5 to 7. That's it. So
I think one year, what was it? One year I picked. It was the Bears who screwed me because I picked against the Bears. And they came out. I picked against the Bears because I think they were playing. I think it was Pittsburgh actually, and they ended up going to overtime and beating them. And then the following week, it was I would have had. Yeah, what happened was there was only 4 of us left, and all 4 of us lost that week because we all picked Pittsburgh to beat the Bears. And so we had to go.
That's what you get for picking against your team.
So we had to go on the next week, and I picked the Bears to beat up. They were playing Miami that week, and that was when they let Miami come back from a 2-score deficit to beat them. I was like, you know what? Never again. Never again. All right, guys.
Well, hey, 1 game off on 3 teams.
Hey, we're there. We're there. I haven't had no crazy takes yet. Everybody likes to talk about my crazy takes. I really don't have any surprises in the AFC. I think the NFC is where we're going to get interesting because I
think the NFC is where we're going to be having some screaming fights.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we will be back with our AFC South and West predictions, and we will also I probably didn't throw this on the breakdown, but we're going to pick an MVP too, so start thinking about that, Soup Boss.
Oh, you can't do that to me? Are you serious?
I just did.
Roll out an MVP. Take this 30-second break.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It shouldn't be that hard in the AFC. It's an obvious choice.
You know me. I'm not that simple.
I ain't gonna take the bait, I ain't gonna vaccinate. I can read between the lines, Billy Gate don't have to say 12 and 80. Listen, I wasn't born yesterday. That's the thing my mama birthed me. Thank God that ain't masturbate. Gather around, pull up a chair. We gon' have a chat today. I'm cooking up some people. Don't grab a plate, get your napkin straight. Cause it's about to get messy. That's why I ain't dressy. I'm about to spill the beats long as the internet. That's just getting on something. You could call the kid risky. I believe in change. Chris, I ain't scared of death. Bet me every dollar in your bank account. Billy, you have to kill me for my willie. And let you check me. I really hope you feel me. Cause I'm really being serious. I bought a $9 and the safety of my safety. Please don't try, Billy. Bitch, you know you don't care about no dime people. Only thing you care about is who supply needs. Rich get rich and poor get sick of crying out to Jesus. It's the power right. Love a dollar signs is zero. I ain't stupid, I know what the hell you doing. I won't do it just because you tell me to.
All right, guys, welcome back. Again, that was
Check
Mises.
that out.
That was Mises. The name of that song is called Gates of Hell. So check him out, guys. Check him out on YouTube. Really good stuff. Really talented guy. his stuff needs to be heard more than a lot of the crap that gets played on the radio. That's for sure.
That was a good song, man. That's the first time I heard that. I checked out some of his stuff here recently, but that one got me going. So that's a good song.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So getting into the AFC South.
This is where we're going to fight.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to fight.
Really?
Let's get ready to rumble.
I don't know how we could fight here. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see. I have this as a really close division. So I guess we'll see here. In the AFC South, I have Jacksonville being atrocious. Like I know you love your guy Minshew over there, and I know that, but look, their schedule is really, really tough. It is a grueling schedule, and I have Jacksonville at 4-12, and then I have the Colts at 8-8, and I have Houston at 9-7, and I also have Tennessee at 9-7. So there's no real, dominant team in this division. Tennessee's good. They've got Derrick Henry. I'm not a big believer, however, in Ryan Tannehill. I think last year was the aberration of his career. Like that's the 1 year that he's going to have that he can hang his hat on. But I just don't see anybody in this division reaching 10 wins. They all have very tough schedules. Jacksonville's in the basement. Indianapolis at 8-8, Houston at 9-7, and Tennessee at 9-7. And I've got Tennessee with the tiebreaker winning that division. So, what says you, Soup?
Yeah, well, we are probably going to – it's funny because I don't think we're too far off on 2, but 2 we've got completely flipped. And I think it's for the aspect of what you talked about with Ryan Tannehill. For me, with Ryan Tannehill, I think we've agreed in that aspect, and I think he's going to come down to earth as much as I loved using it. Trust me, I picked him up in almost every single fantasy team I had, and I rode him to the championship in multiple. Like, he had a monster next to Allen with Buffalo, monster end of the season. Yep. But I think it's because of the team in front of him. But remember, a lot of that team didn't change. He's got most of that offensive line still there. Henry signed a deal. He's got the wide receivers who I think are going to be even better, especially a guy like A.J. Brown. In that aspect. But
Harris says the Ravens will go 7-9. And the only reason I wanted to bring this up is because I just happened to have glanced up and seen the score. This guy keeps coming up with these takes, and he keeps saying don't let the Red Sox get hot. Boy, did they get smoked today. How are they going to get hot? They gave up 17 runs today. That team is trash.
The only hot with the Sox, Jared, is I feel like I'm in hell watching this garbage shit they throw on the field every damn day. Cut it out. We've got one. Eovaldi is our ace. Let me repeat that. Eovaldi is our ace. That sucks.
Jared also says Minshew looks like he belongs selling left-handed toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't give 2 shits. He looks like he could be running a local pawn shop and a porn studio, and at the same time giving out all the massages to all the ladies over 50, and he's still cool as hell. He don't give 2 craps, okay? You can say whatever. People, I've been hearing it about Minshew since the day he was drafted. I love this guy. I love this. With that said, I want you to know that I actually was thinking when I looked at everything that I actually had the Jaguars just quickly in my brain around a 5-11 and 6-10. So this is not an aspect of Minshew mania controlling me. Listen, I'm hoping to get his shirt in soon that I got. I had to pick from a couple different designs, a pump for it, but we're close on 2, and we flipped on another. Listen, Phillip Rivers is really good at making babies. Phillip Rivers is also really good at flinging a ball like no one's business and hitting guys like Keenan Allen and everything like that. He's got T.Y. Hilton, but T.Y. Hilton had an injury problem that, just like Hill I talked about, you've got toe, you've got hamstring, you've got challenges like that. Outside of that, Marlon Mack, okay, maybe I got him in some dynasty league. It's good to hold on to him. I know they drafted that kid. I don't know. I just do not look at this Colts team and think, yeah, that's a team that's going to challenge. Not yet. I see the pieces there, but, I don't even like the kid they drafted. He would look like a damn bum on the couch during draft day, and he got drafted. He was like, I don't give 2 shits. His poor girlfriend was sitting there, like, wanting to be happy for him. So I think they got pieces there, but they're still off. And I think this Philip Rivers thing was, listen, I need someone to sign me. I need to be able to feed 412 kids. I'm going to make about 10 more during the season. I just need a contract. It's not as bad as Jay Cutler in Miami, but I don't really foresee him doing well. I got the Colts at 4-12, man. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I think T.Y. Hilton goes down. I think that defense is still got a lot of big holes. They've got some good players, but they got a lot of big holes. I just looked at the schedule, and I just could not see it. I see them losing a lot of close games because Philip Rivers will help them keep them close, but that's exactly what it was in San Diego. I know it's LA now, but he was a San Diego Charger. How many games did he keep them so close? But it's just not enough. And I see the exact same setup. So I got them at 4-12. I went through this about 10 times. And I went over it and over it. And I went back and I looked at the aspects of home and away. I looked at all these different things. And I took my DeAndre Hopkins love out of it to know that they brought in a couple of good pieces. And I looked and I looked and I looked. I got the Texans at 7-9, man. I can't. I'm almost telling myself I'm an idiot for it, but I've got them at 7-9. I think this is going to be a hiccup season, and I think the other part of it is because there's such a low view of Bill O'Brien that I think this is, as much as Texas fans might be upset at me after this, I think that 7-9 is actually going to be good for them because it's going to get Bill O'Brien the hell out of there. They're going to give the GM to an actual GM. They're going to go get a coach that's going to be hungry for the players, kind of like a Shanahan out in San Fran or something like that. And I think it's going to be better because Deshaun Watson needs someone. They picked up his option, so we'll have 2020 and then 2021. And I think they cannot go into 2021 as Bill O'Brien as their coach and GM. They can't. So I got them having a subpar season for that team at 7-9. And then I've got the Jaguars at 8-8. And I know I've got my love for Minshew, but I kept looking at the aspects. And I'm not saying they're going to be an 8-8 with 8 fantastic games, but I just see them as a team that can pull some upsets. And though we talked about the AFC having a hard schedule, I don't think theirs is overly tough. They've got some games they're going to get shelled. They got games they're going to go 42-10, and people are going to rag on me for Minshew because he's going to get getting sacked halfway in the air and he's going to flail and throw a ball and pick six or something stupid. But I think they actually go 8-8, and I got the Titans only game off of you. I got them at 10-6. I think they're a little bit stronger than that 9 wins that you have, not because I'm disagreeing with you with the Tannehill aspect, but I think Tannehill, if Henry didn't come back, if pieces of the offensive line didn't come back, if you didn't have A.J. Brown, and let's not forget a couple of the other guys that have matured another year, the wide receiver core is still there. The defense is good. Vrabel is definitely a coach for the players, and he's a defensive-minded guy. That holds it through, where I think they take that energy from last year. They hold true at 10-6, and I think in this – what is the worst? I'm so tired of hearing people saying the AFC East was the worst division. It's not even close to true. If you do your research, the AFC South has been by far the most abysmal division in all of football for 15 years running, or 12, wherever it was when they did all their realignment. But I got them winning at 10-6.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, I don't know where I just don't see Jacksonville being that good. I don't see Jacksonville winning that many games. I got Jacksonville losing to Indy. I have them losing to Houston twice. I have them losing to Tennessee twice. I have them losing to Detroit. I have them losing to the Chargers. I have them losing to Green Bay. I have them losing to Pittsburgh. I have them losing to Minnesota. I have them losing to Baltimore, and I have them losing to the Bears. I don't know.
They're going to sweep. They're going to sweep the Colts.
You think they're going to sweep the Colts?
I'm putting it down right now. They're going to sweep the Colts. Week 1, week 17. I think they're going to come out with energy in week 1, and they're going to win. And then by week 17, right. I think if my prediction's right, the Colts are going to be so half out of it and not give two shits. T.Y. Hilton's going to probably be hurt. I think that's a big statement because if the Jags can walk in with my prediction at 7-8, with the 7 teams going to the playoffs, they're going to have a chance potentially for that 7th playoff spot. I think they're going to play their hearts out. That's why I looked at it that way. Week 1 and week 17. But I have them losing to the Titans, the Texans. I have them losing to the Packers, the Steelers. I mean, I got a 4-week stretch. Packers, Steelers. I have them losing to the Browns. I have them losing to the Vikings. I have them losing to the Ravens, and I have them losing to the Bears. Yeah. But I think intra-division, I think they're actually going to do pretty decent. It helps that they play the Dolphins and the Bengals and the Lions. I think that helps them. I think it really does. I think they're when you talk about the best of the rest, and those teams, I don't think they're going to lose to Detroit, man.
Detroit's a better team than Jacksonville. I think they're absolutely a better team than Jacksonville.
I don't think we had Jared commenting that Big Ben's done. It's not that I want to see Matthew Stafford done, but people forget he broke his back. He's a tough SOB. He played through it, but that makes it worse. He didn't say, hey, something's bad with my back, and they shut him down for the season and gave him surgery. He played that whole season and then had surgery. I don't think he's walking into this season the Matthew Stafford everyone knows. I just don't.
Yeah. And sorry, I just got caught off guard here. So they threw – and I hate when they do this. When you're broadcasting a baseball game and a guy has a no-hitter heading into the sixth inning, they put it like it's sitting up there as Darvish, how many pitches he's thrown, and it says no-hitter through 5 right underneath.
Yeah, they jinx him.
Yeah, it just
jinx
him. No sense. But, yeah, Darvish right now is throwing a no-hitter against Milwaukee. They're in the sixth.
That's a big team to throw a no-hitter against, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they've got some big boppers on their squad, and they've got the second best player in baseball in their lineup. So he's pitching well tonight. But at any rate, so we're off a game on Tennessee. So let's figure out where we're off there. I have them losing to Minnesota. I have them losing to Buffalo. I have them losing to Houston 1 game. I have them losing to Indy 1 game. I have them losing to the Bears. I have them losing to Baltimore, and I have them losing to Green Bay.
Okay. Again, I don't think we're too far off here.
I think we were a game off. You had them at 10-6. I had them at 9-7.
9-7. Yeah, so we're a game off. So I have them losing to the Vikings. The Vikings people are going to be. I don't care, even with them losing Stephon Diggs, and we'll get in the NFC next week. They're going to be a good team. They're going to lose to the Bills, and I'm putting this right now. Let me tell you right now, this is where people are going to wake up on the Bills. I have them. This is going to be Tennessee's worst game of the season. I think they're going to lose like 38-10 against the Bills. I really do. The Ravens, they're going to lose, but I think that's going to be a close game because I think the Ravens are going to have revenge on their mind, but Tennessee's going to prove to them that wasn't a fluke. I got them losing a game to the Colts because it comes right after that Ravens game. There's a lot of energy, and I think that would be one that it works for Philip Rivers to just fling the ball. They're going to be tired. I got them losing to the Jaguars for 1 game, and then the Packers. I actually have them beating the Bears. Not so much that I think it's so much against the Bears, but I think they come out of the bye. They've got the Bengals. That's 2 weeks pretty much of not really having to stress too much going in against the Bears. And when I went and countered it by looking at the Bears' schedule, they got a little bit of a tougher area right then, and I think that's one where the Titans will take advantage of.
Okay, all right. We'll definitely get into NFC next week. Look, I've been on record, so everybody already knows where I have the Bears. I have them have a better season now. Not quite 16-0, but I have them at 11-5. So, but we'll get into that next week for sure when we do our NFC predictions. Yep. So moving on to the West here, I have no surprises here. I don't think. It's going to be a down year in this division again, with the exception of Kansas City. The only surprises you could give me is if you got anyone outside of the Chiefs doing anything worth looking at. Look, I have. So here's what I have. I have Denver in the basement at 6-10. I have the Chargers and the Raiders both at 8-8, and I have the Kansas City Chiefs at 13-3.
Yeah, you've given that rest of that division a hell of a lot more. This is where we're going to be off a lot. You've given them a hell of a lot more credit than I have.
Well, here's what I've got. So I've got the Chiefs are going to win that. Clearly going to win that division.
Yep.
I only have them losing 2 divisional games, and then I have them losing to New Orleans, and what will probably be the best game of the year. So I think they take care of business. They do play Tampa Bay too, so that's another spot where they could possibly drop a game because I think Tampa Bay is going to be really good this year, but they're just the cream of the crop in the AFC, let alone in their own division. They are so good. Patrick Mahomes.
You have them beating the Ravens then in their game because you had the Ravens at 13-3 too, right?
I had the Ravens at 14-2.
Ooh, so you gave them the number 1 seed. Okay, so this is where we're going to be off a little bit.
Yeah, so I've got the Chiefs at 13-3, and I just come on. I mean, if you have anybody other than the Chiefs here, you're crazier than I am.
I would dare. We've got some great Raiders fans on Sports Soup. Proud of them. Best jerseys in football, in my opinion, outside of the baby blue of the Chargers, which is funny, both these divisions. But I would dare, please, someone, anyone give Mr. Combs and I a reason. Sports Soup, Triple Shot fans, RTF, give us any reason why you think there's going to be a single team outside of the Chiefs that has a chance. Oh, my God.
Joshua, do me a favor.
Yeah, okay, listen.
Wait, Joshua, do me a favor. Shoot me a private message, and I want the number and the address of your dealer. Stuff, and I would like to get some. So
listen. I mean, with their offense, Drew Lock is a guy that I think is going to do decent, but he's going to have growing pains this year. You got a guy like Sutton. They're running back, but I mean, Landry was good, but then you went out and signed what's-his-face that was on L.A. Like, you don't have an identity at running back with 2 really damn good running backs. Yeah. Like, do they have the pieces to be good? Yes. Are they going to be scary? No, they're going to trip over their own damn feet.
Yeah. The only thing scary about Denver is the altitude. That's about it. There's nothing scary about Denver this year.
Have you ever gone to Denver, man?
No.
I've been to Denver multiple times. And one day I got so used to the altitude, used to it. I was like, big deal. We went up Pikes Peak up the car, and I was dangling off edges of cliffs. I'm like, this ain't nothing. It
didn't bother me too much. But you got people who just have a hard time with it. So,
well, what I was going to say is I went out and said I'm going to run a mile. And I got a third of the way through, and I thought my lungs were literally going to seep through the pores in my chest. So, it was horrible.
Go with an oxygen tank, right?
It was terrible. So you're right in that aspect. But listen, I think you've given this division far too much credit.
Oh, you're broker out here, giving us a reason not to go with the Chiefs.
Difference, Stevie. He got the signing bonus up front. There's 2 challenges though. One, his contract on the long-term aspect is not guaranteed beyond the bonus aspect. It's a little bit different, so it forces him to still play. I kind of like what the Chiefs did there. And 2, Patrick Mahomes, you got to remember, was a guy that people did not want. And when the Chiefs actually traded up to get him, they said, what Mr. Combs just said to Joshua Seavey, what is your dealer number? Are you crazy? Yeah. This kid just flings it. He's going to be the next Johnny Football. Right. He has got the Brady chip on his shoulder. He didn't get picked 199, but he's going to prove I should be in it every single year.
Joshua Seavey continues to smoke that stuff. They're not going to be number 2. They're not better than the Chargers. They're not better than Las Vegas. The Chargers are a sneaky team because I think Tyrod Taylor is a lot better than people give him credit for. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is a superstar by any.
But they don't want him in there.
I do not.
They don't want him there.
But he's that guy, man. He's a stud. But
they didn't draft a kid at Oregon because they wanted Tyrod for him to sit behind Tyrod Taylor for years. Yeah. He's going to start before this season's over.
You think so?
Yeah, they didn't draft him to learn behind Tyrod Taylor. I don't disagree with you. I look at poor Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo and then Cleveland, and now LA is going to be the guy that goes in and does enough to be able to get himself a starting role, but then they just bring in people that are just going to replace him. Like, that's just the case.
The Chargers out?
I've got the Chargers. I cannot believe. Like, listen, I love Keenan Allen. But they don't. What the hell do they have that you gave them 8-8? They're 2-14. This is a garbage team. Tyrod Taylor's going to lose that starting spot. The kid from Oregon is going to come in and he's going to get the crap smacked out of him. He's going to get a taste of NFL that's going to make him lick his chops this offseason and be prepared for next year. They're going to be able to build a little bit. This team is horrible. The defense is atrocious. The outside of Keenan Allen, and I would not be shocked if come week 6 to 8, you're going to start hearing rumors Keenan Allen gets traded out of L.A. I think he's going to go to someone that's going to make a run. And if my prediction on Jacksonville is accurate, they've got the space. I want to be shocked if Jacksonville has got a little bit of thunder. You see him going and getting traded to a team like that because the Chargers aren't going to want to trade him intra-division. They're not going to want to trade him to a high-flying AFC team. And the NFC, as you and I have said, is already going to be stacked. I think you might see him go to a team like the Jaguars. They're 2-14. They're hot garbage,
but
number one pick material.
I have
garbage.
the games that they should lose. Like they're going to lose twice at Kansas City. They're going to lose to Carolina. They're going to lose to Tampa Bay. They're going to lose to New Orleans. They're going to lose to Las Vegas. They're going to lose to Denver. They're going to lose to Buffalo. They're going to beat the Bengals. They're going to beat the Jets. They're going to beat the Dolphins. They're going to beat the Jaguars. They're going to split with the Broncos. They're going to split with everybody in the West except for they're going to split with the Raiders. They're not going to split with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to beat them twice.
Right.
I haven't beaten the Falcons. I think they're a better team than the Falcons.
You just made Julio Jones your number one freaking wide receiver. Told me I was nuts, but you have this shit team beating the Falcons with Todd Gurley and Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley and your number one wide receiver going in the league. You think they're better?
What did I say?
Tyrod Taylor?
Well, what else did I say earlier? I can't have an East Coast team go to the West Coast and beat a West Coast team. I don't see it. They're in LA.
The team is crap. It's like beating a college team. Okay, you got to travel to the West Coast. It's a college team.
No, you're wrong.
A running back, Mr. Combs. Who's a running back?
Who?
That's what I'm asking you.
What do you're asking me? Who's running back?
Who's running back?
Their running back is Justin Jackson.
Wow, that just lit the fear. You should see the goosebumps that went down my back. Whoa!
We have Austin Eckler as well.
Okay, so Eckler, I think I love the chip on his shoulder. Keenan Allen, of course, to me is he wasn't in my top 10, but man, he's a guy that he doesn't get the credit because he had some injury problems a couple years ago. That's it. That's all they have. That's it. Eckler and Allen are not going to carry this team. Tyrod Taylor's going to lose the starting role to a rookie. And unlike the aspect with Baker Mayfield, where Baker came in and had some energy, this kid in Oregon is going to get the crap knocked out. That Chiefs defense is going to punch him in the mouth so freaking hard. He's going to wish the Pac-12 were playing football and he could de-register himself from the NFL and go play an extra year in Oregon. It's not good. They're 2-14. I got them beat in the Jets and the Broncos. There you go. There's their whole whopping two.
The rest of your West then.
I got the Broncos at 5-11. I don't think they're as quote unquote horrible as you, because again, I think Drew Lock is actually a decent piece. I don't think they're too bad. You had them at 6-10. Actually, I had them worse than you. Sorry. So I don't. Are they number 2 and whatever Josh Receive, like your prediction with them? Listen, they've got some good pieces. If they could keep building on it, that's going to be a good team. They still got a halfway decent defense, but that's a 6-10 team. I've got a 5-11 team. I got the Raiders at 6-10. I think the aspect with the Raiders that we're going to need to watch out for is the Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota thing, because I don't believe that their coach there has faith in Carr at all. I think there's a reason he was hoping that Tom Brady would come play. And I think there's a reason he went and got Marcus Mariota on that team. But that's going to create some challenges because unlike him and unlike some people that think he's terrible, there's a lot of people that actually think Derek Carr is good, including a lot of the Raiders faithful. And he's got some great completion percentages and accuracy percentages that's going to create a big challenge. I think it's going to give him some hiccups. Like I'm at 6-10. Chiefs are going 14-2, man. I can't, as long as we don't have, because last year, remember, they still were where they were in the 2 seed, and that was with Patrick Mahomes missing some games because friggin' Andy Reid was like, oh, your ankle hurts? Why don't you go do a quarterback sneak? That was the dumbest decision of all last year. He's lucky that Mahomes was young and in a position. If Patrick Mahomes was 32 years old, and he did that, he's done for the rest of the season. That was the dumbest thing. The look on Mahomes' face to the sideline, like he knew he was going to be out a couple games. I got them only losing I got them actually losing to the Bucs, because I think they got the two split sandwich going with inter division, and you know that even though they're better, the Raiders and the Broncos, the AFC West. I'll give them this: they know those fans know how to hype it up, and they talk shit on each other constantly, even when one team is far superior than the rest. When the Broncos were superior, somehow the Raiders knew how to crap talk them. When the Raiders were, somehow the Chargers knew how to crap talk them. I think they're going to lose to the Bucks in a crazy game. I also got them losing to the Falcons in a crazy game because I have them actually beating the Saints, which is going to exhaust them to no end, and they're going to end up being too tired. And I think the Falcons are going to be gifted that game, not because the Falcons are a better team at all, but man, I'm with you. You have them losing to the Saints. I have them beating the Saints, but I think you and I were both saying that's going to be a monster game. Yeah. I think it's going to be insane.
One to Las Vegas, one to Denver, and then I have them losing to the Saints. So
yeah, well, I got them 14-2. They're my number one seed.
All right, well,
and the Chargers are hot freaking first pick.
We're not too far off on most of them. I mean, we're off. We definitely disagree on the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to be better than you think they are. But I guess we'll see. The season is a little under way, and that's why we're doing these picks.
I'll give them 3-13 at their best.
I teased it real quick. Did you have a chance to think about who your MVP is going to be?
Yeah,
for me, it's easy.
1, 2, 3.
Patrick Mahomes.
Listen, Andy Reid, I think was realized his dumb mistake. I just said it. Here's the other reason, not to just credit Lamar Jackson, but where did I put him? I put him in my top 10 quarterback in what? Running back.
Yeah.
There's the aspect of a running quarterback, but I've had now two sources that I've found. One source that someone I talked to and one just on a sports page, but it was someone that credited knowing the Ravens organization. There is talk going into Lamar Jackson's ear. Could you potentially lead the NFL in rushing this year? And the thought process within his camp is if you focus on it the right way, he could. You're going to have Lamar Jackson thinking he's going to put up this challenge of leading the league in rushing when his job is to be the quarterback. And I think that he would want to try to do it because that's his mentality. And I made him the 10th running back for a reason because I think he is a running back. But that's not going to help you as an overall player. I think that's going to hurt him if that is the mentality goes. I think Harbaugh needs to backhand the kid, focus. Yes, you can run, but you need to throw that ball, kid. And I think
Lamar Jackson's the real deal. I think he wants to prove to people that he's a quarterback and he belongs as a quarterback. And I think he's real. Look, I know a lot of people are down on him. Michael Buckheiser doesn't even have him in the top 5 quarterbacks. And I love Lamar Jackson. I think that the kid really can be what we all thought Michael Vick was going to be. I think he can sustain it. I think he can do it for a long time. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised because he is going to be fun to watch for a long time.
I still had him at 13-3.
Yeah. So Yu Darvish is heading into the 7th. He has a no-hitter, but he has thrown 92 pitches. I'm not sure he's going to get through this one.
Oof. So, you're just trying to jinx him now at this point. Big fights going on, by the way, in Boston and Carolina. Chara's throwing haymakers in Boston, Carolina right now. You guys ever wanted to see what it looked like in Jack and the Beanstalk if the Giant was fighting Jack? Chara, for people who don't know, on Boston is like 8.5 feet or something crazy tall, and he's throwing fists downwards towards like the level of his crotch. That's the other people's heads. Like,
and of course, Marshawn's in the middle of it too, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know why Marshawn never leave Boston?
That's what we love, baby.
Never have anybody big enough like Chara to defend him whenever he does something stupid.
Chara never has to defend him. Get the hell out of here. Marshawn defends himself. Marshawn also exit on. He doesn't need anyone there. I've watched Marshawn fight three guys at once, and he sat there and he spit on one of them and said, "Come at me," while he had one guy in front of him and the other two in his arms, and he said, "Come at me," and spit in their face. He's a dirty little player, but he doesn't need anyone backing him up. He'll end up crippled someday, but
he's a pissant
until he's on your team.
Yeah, no, I would love to have him on my team.
Yep. Are we doing playoff predictions or no?
We'll do playoff predictions after we do NFC. So that's what I was thinking. We'll do our AFC, then NFC, then we'll get into the playoffs, and it'll be leading right into the NFL season coming up. So
I feel like Ryan Seacrest. I'm going to keep this to see who's.
Yeah, I was writing down your predictions too. So I
have
ours written down, and I am ready to go for sure. I am ready to show you at the end how right I was and how wrong you are.
Yeah. I've got to figure out, though. That actually is good because I need to figure out because the 7th seed, I got 2 teams at 8-8, and I can't. I think they split, if I remember correctly. They split head to head, so I have to figure out what their interdivision, I think, record is to see who will be the actual 7th seed. So I got to look at that.
All right, guys, so we'll be back here in probably about 90 seconds, and then we will get to way or no way.
Open up my emotions, just to make me a pussy. Tell the trolls keep trolling. Bet your ass won't push me. All you ass do is push keys. You exciting my demons. Even demons scared of me. Only fight when I'm sleeping. God, why am I breathing? Got no rhyme and no reason. That's the reason I rhyme. Big spot in my season. I'm tired of y'all eating. I'm just tired of me starving. Actually, I'm being honest. I'm just tired of being confident. I'm over ripping the hole in your whole operation. I run out of patience. Run out of pages to write that I run out of pages. I jump on the mic and go nuts on the stage. I'm so fucking amazing and nothing amazes you motherfuckers anymore. Cause my cadence is never stay the same. Don't ever say my name. The hell out my way. Got the devil in my head. The devil's in my brain. Like whoa. No. Not gonna slow the flow down so you slow folks will know what I'm saying until you replay this shit over and over. I'm only admitted and already said more than you say in one of your albums. Wow, I'm standing in the ring and ready to get it and let me know who want a problem. I ain't never ran a fuck what you thought. I'm more battles than you ever fought nowadays. 2, 6, 9 and then tell when they get caught. I'm sticking to the code. Jump before the sun, then with the flow. Only keep them out to hit the road. Trying to make it dollars. Even both motherfucker everybody. It's my gun, oh my gosh. See me with the lights off. It's a motherfucking star. I said that on the first call.
All right, guys, we are back. Hope you guys enjoy some Mises. Name of that one is called Notice. Putting everybody on notice that he's coming. Look, that man is ultra talented. Look, he can do some good messages. He can battle rap. The guy can absolutely rap with the best of them. And so check him out, YouTube, Mises. All right, so now it's
stuff. Hey, real quick before we leave the NFL thing, Twitter poll. I'm going to go 4. We're going to go 4 after the show, and we've got the weekend. I'm going to put the 4 divisions in each team. Who do you think is going to win the division? Because I want to see if there's anyone picking any of the 3 teams outside of the Chiefs on that West.
Absolutely.
On that note, game on! Game on! Keep wheeling, keep feeling.
All right, you guys know what that sound is. That means it is time for our game. You guys love it. It is way or no way.
No way. Yes way.
I can't wait for that next movie, baby. Bill and Ted. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one for sure.
I saw the first trailer and I was like, oh god, this storyline looks terrible. And then I saw the second and third and I was like, all right, that's good enough for me.
All right, so let's get into it real quick here. Way or no way. We have the first one I came out with this morning because I was watching First Take and I hear this clip. And look, Joshua CV, if you're still listening, man, you're gonna love this one because this guy came out and they asked him a question about how good he thinks he is and if there's anybody in the league that can throw like him. And he says that he hasn't seen it yet. And then he goes as far to say as when it comes to, talent and all time, he's like, there's a couple guys that I rank up there with me and there's a couple California boys and meaning Joe Montana and Tom Brady. look, so the first one here is Aaron Rodgers is on the same level as Joe Montana and Tom Brady, and I'm going to take it first here. This is an absolute no way. There is on no planet is Aaron Rodgers as good as Tom Brady or Joe Montana. He's not even in the same breath. Look, the guy is good. He's been a good quarterback his entire career, and even as a Bears fan, as much as it pains me to say it, he has been a really solid quarterback. When you can go and you can throw for 4,000 yards and less than 5 interceptions and do it in 2 consecutive years, and there's only been 2 years where a quarterback has done that, and he has them both, you're a really good quarterback. But you're not Tom Brady and you're not Joe Montana, and you're a joke for even suggesting it. These guys were championship quarterbacks. These guys won multiple Super Bowls. They put up numbers that you will never come close to. Joe Montana and Tom Brady are way, way, way out of your league. Way out of your league. So for the fact that he went there and said that, it just made me laugh. So that's when I came up with this way or no way. Supas, what about you?
Yeah, listen, you know where Aaron Rodgers can compare in some way in my nerd heart with Tom Brady. Listen, Tom Brady's got his supermodel wife and former, but I mean Olivia Munn and Danica Patrick. I mean the fact that he got to date those two, fantastic, great for them. But no, this is a joke. This is an absolute joke. Listen, we did our top 10 quarterbacks the other day, and we were talking about the aspect of Brady and all this stuff, and we were looking at statistics. And you know all the people that I listed that were in comparison? It was like Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, John Elway. You notice that not even Brett Favre was on that list? And I think Brett Favre was the better Packer quarterback all time than Aaron Rodgers, as much as that hurts people,
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers fans. I think Brett Favre, though, was more of a gunslinger and made more mistakes. He was a better quarterback, better team leader than Aaron Rodgers is. Again, to your point, where he's had some stats, good for him and everything like that. But if he was as good as he thinks he is, even though he doesn't have weapons right now, he would have won a lot more. He would have gone to the Super Bowl a heck of a lot more. I get that he's a stellar quarterback, but the fantasy sports focus in our nation with sports fans over the last 10, 15 years has demoralized the thought process of just using your eyeball. And Aaron Rodgers throws some damn good throws. He wins a lot of games. Yeah. But he is in the B category, and the A's are those other ones I listed off, and potentially Brett Favre, and not him. He's not better. He's not as good as them. It's a joke. He's not. It's a joke.
Yeah, he's definitely in the second tier of quarterbacks. He probably heads the second tier of quarterbacks, but he's nowhere near that first tier.
Steve Young put Steve Young ahead of him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Steve Young was better than him. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, I take Elway over him. I take Marino over him. You go back.
Peyton Manning.
Star. All those guys. So he's not even close. And the fact that he said it, I just started laughing, and I was like, you know what? And then I looked on the thing, and Joshua CV on Sports Soup had posted something about how to burn Aaron Rodgers lovers, and I was like, you know what? Let's get this one on there. Joshua CV says that's gross. Stephen Jean says no way, and then he says sorry, no way in hell.
No way in hell.
Joshua CV said I can name a quarterback better than him right now that wears number 8 and isn't Lamar. So look,
Joshua was waiting for this. He was so pumped. By the way, I may have sneaked the our blurb for our show today to him just to be like, look it, buddy, you got it on the show. Yeah, he was pumped.
No, he's just man. I couldn't believe it when he said it, and even being a Bears fan, look, I hate the Packers. I hate everything that comes out of Green Bay. I don't like Wisconsin. It's just not. Look, I just don't like it.
It smells like cheese.
St. Louis and Green Bay for me are just two places that I never want to go. I never want to send my kids to. I just don't, and I can't. But he is. That's. I don't know how quarterback's going to come out and start blasting him. I don't. You know what I mean? Like
I almost feel like with what we've seen since they drafted Love and his comments and the things he's doing, I swear to God, he's just trying to cause commotion to either do his teammates back him so he can look at the ownership and be like, now what are you going to do? Or he's like, F it, I don't want to be here anymore. So, which, if that's what you don't want, listen, I'm the biggest Brett Favre fan you know. I've watched the scene and There's Something About Mary 5 million times.
Right.
Like I quote it. I love Brett Favre. But he finally got sick of it and just was like, here, I'm going to retire 6 times, went to New York, showed his dick on his cell phone, and then got to Minnesota and brought himself back to glory. I kind of think that that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Yeah. He saw what they did in the draft. And he said, screw it, I want out. And I think he's going to cause these commotions, and we'll see when we do our NFC next week. I think it's going to be issues in Green Bay. Yeah,
I agree. And so we pumped Joshua's CV up a little bit, and he is part of our second wayer. He posted this morning that you can, piss off Aaron Rodgers supporters by saying a single statement, and I think he believes this, and it is that Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback right now than Aaron Rodgers. Suplas, way or no way?
Right now?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I didn't even put Aaron Rodgers in my top 10, and then you lost your mind because I had Kirk Cousins at 5. If you don't remember. Listen, Kirk Cousins took a Washington team that we have seen be nothing but the hot garbage I called the Chargers here for more than a decade and actually made them relevant. And they just did that stupid crap where they kept giving him the franchise tag, and finally he got a contract. And he came in after the miracle. He had that offseason. He had the fight on the sidelines. I'm not saying that he's a tier A. But what we saw at him last year – and what drives me nuts is people are like, oh, you can't win against the playoff teams. It is not him on his own against these teams, because when you look at the statistics of what he has, top to bottom, in those games versus games against worse teams, it's no different. What tends to happen is, and sorry, Joshua Seavey, this is going to bother you because I know we've talked a lot about the Vikings defense. That Vikings defense actually hurt them last year. They let them down more than he did. Kirk Cousins, to me right now, if you're asking me in their age right now, if I had to pick one of these 2 quarterbacks to lead me over the next 5 years, you're damn straight I'm taking Kirk Cousins. Career-wise, no way. No way. Aaron Rodgers, career-wise, is better than Kirk Cousins. But today, Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback.
I love the idea that we could break down Aaron Rodgers in the first segment, and I absolutely hate the fact that
what you can do, give him a nice hand job
now I'm going to bump him up a little bit. Jeez. Because this is absolutely a no way.
Freaking flip-flopping like crazy. Why do you flip-flop like this?
First of all, it's not flip-flopping. I just said he's not Tom Brady and Joe Montana, and now we're talking about Kirk freaking Cousins. Give me a break. That's not flip-flopping. Look,
who was the better quarterback
he's
last
not
year?
As good as those guys does not.
Who was the better quarterback last year? Who was the
Aaron
better quarterback?
No. Aaron Rodgers threw for 4,000 yards and only threw, 3 interceptions, I believe?
He wasn't better.
2 years in a row now, he's thrown for 4,000 yards and less than 5 interceptions. You know who else has done that in their career? Nobody.
I got your back, Joshua Steve. There's nobody. Way. He wasn't a better quarterback. And this year, Kirk Cousins is going to prove it. He's going to prove it. Aaron Rodgers is throwing damn fits with the media.
He might have a better season this year, because I do agree that I think he's, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a down year. I think he's pissed off about the Jordan Love draft pick, and I think he's going to cause fits, like you say. Yep. But I just can't put no. There's just no way. No.
Well, did you make this question all time or going into this year?
Going into this year.
It's, Kirk is better this year. Aaron Rodgers is better career, but Kirk's better this year.
Well, on the Patriots right now, if you were their GM, you'd go after Kirk Cousins before you.
Yes, because we talk about this with Ezekiel Elliott. You and I actually agree on this. It's not just the numbers. We talk about the efficiency aspect. We talk about a lot of the other aspects. And when you go and look at it, and that post that you're quoting Joshua Seavey on Sports Soup that he brings up, he brought that one up. But there was another one he brought up, was we're actually line by line. Not 1, not 2, but about 15 things, line by line, where Kirk Cousins was better than Aaron Rodgers. It's not just about the yards you throw, and it's the whole Jameis Winston argument with you all over again. It's not just about the fantasy stats. How efficient are you in everything that you do? And you're telling me what's going on with Love right now, that Aaron Rodgers is going to walk in?
Aaron Rodgers is a horrible
obviously the head case. He's obviously a head case, and he loves to just whine and bitch and moan and throw.
I agree.
So he's not going to be a better quarterback.
He's better than Kirk Cousins. I don't care what you say. All right, moving on. There was another thing on Sports Soup today that caught my attention, and that was a quote from Vince Carter, who's a very well-known basketball NBA superstar for a long time, Hall of Famer for sure. And he came out and was asked about the greatest of all time debate, and he said, "For me, it's MJ at 1 with a very close Kobe at 2nd." And for me, I've said this for a long time. Look, there's a lot of people. There's only one person that I know that puts Wilt Chamberlain ahead of Michael Jordan, and then puts LeBron at 3. Look, for me, people have asked me this all the time because being out on the East Coast, as soon as people hear that I'm from Chicago, first thing they want to talk about is Michael Jordan, and LeBron. It's the first thing they say is it LeBron or Jordan? And for me, I've always said, look, I don't even.
You don't even watch basketball, though.
But no, I watched basketball for a long time, and I still follow it. I just don't watch it it's not baseball, it's not hockey, and it's not football. So, but for me, I don't know if LeBron's as good as Kobe. Like, it's not even a matter of whether or not he's Jordan. He's not even Kobe. And Kobe, look, for me, it is MJ 1, Kobe 2, and then LeBron's. He's not really that close at 3, but he's at 3. I think Jordan and Kobe were just on different levels. So for me, this one's a way. LeBron James is 3rd on the all-time list behind Kobe and Michael Jordan.
So I'm going to say no way, but not for the aspect that LeBron is higher. And my oldest, Danny, who is Amanda's brother, and you wanted to know my drug dealer. Listen, with LeBron, he is obviously the most physical specimen that we've seen in basketball. Really, he is. He can play all 5 positions. We used to say that growing up about Magic out in L.A. when he came in the finals against the Celtics and played center position. The difference is that he did that as almost like a necessary thing, whereas LeBron can do it all the time. The problem is LeBron still has this aura of he played in a weekend East, even with the Celtics team that was out there. That's why he went to the West to prove everyone wrong. He's not doing very well out in the West. Like, they've had some good games. He's not doing well. I watched him play the Thunder, and I watched him play the Suns. He's not doing good.
Well, he needs to stop spray painting his head.
Yeah, no kidding. I put that on there, and I love how people are like, oh, LeBron haters, all they want to do is pick on his hair. No, I'm bald. I've been shaving my head since I was in my mid-20s. All I'm saying is just let it go. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just shave it. Stop it. Yeah. That doesn't mean you're a crappy ball player. Listen.
Shit, Michael Jordan was bald?
Yeah. Listen, I say no way for a couple reasons. The aspect that one, Carolina just scored 2 quick goals back to back. One, I don't think LeBron yet is number 3 in my book. We haven't seen the rest of his career. Now, if he goes off and wins 3 out of the next 4 years, wins a title, and he's more of the reason they win over a guy like Anthony Davis or things like that,
yeah,
okay, then we're talking. There's still a dark cloud over LeBron's head. He's the most physical specimen player I think that we will ever see, and it's the Barry Bonds argument. Like, don't let the frustration of people calling him the GOAT cloud your eyes from seeing just what an amazing basketball player we're getting to see. Seriously, as much as a Celtics fan, he drives me nuts. Don't let it go away. He is amazing. I still don't even have him 3rd. And I don't even know if I have Kobe 2. And this is not a homer pick. But the fact that Bill Russell won 11 rings, partly as a coach, he changed the way the game of basketball was played. He forced the outside shot. What we see all day with Curry and what's his face on Atlanta shooting those threes, do you want to know why? It's because he changed the game to understand you're not going to come in the center anymore. And Wilt Chamberlain, as much as Wayne drives us crazy and we talk about it, I still think that he might have been a better player. It's not to discredit Kobe. I love Kobe, but do you remember the years where Kobe didn't have other major players around him? There were some abysmal years. And LeBron, on the other hand, do you remember when he played the Spurs in the finals? Do you remember the team he had around him? It was shit. There was no one on that team. Kobe never – what?
Darvish just lost his no-hitter on a solo home run.
You did it. I'm blaming you. No, listen, this is so hard because this is where when we were just talking about the whole Aaron Rodgers thing and the Group A and the Group B, I think Jordan's a GOAT. But then it's like, who else is in row A? Of course Kobe's in there, but I think there's other elements. I think this is a no way because we haven't seen still what LeBron fully can do in that aspect. Yeah. And I think that weighs into what that fits in because Kobe was amazing. We all love to shout Kobe, rip, 2020, whatever. Kobe, you got to remember when he played without the big players, people loved to shit on the fact that he was just a shitty teammate. He was angry. He was negative. The Lakers weren't that good of a team. They just weren't
the same teammate that Michael Jordan was, man. He wanted to win.
No. Michael Jordan drove his players to be better. Kobe Bryant talked shit on them, which some players receive as a challenge to make them better. Some players just look at that as just being like, well, fuck you, dude. Yeah. Screw you. Jordan knew how to tone that down a little bit to be like, hey, listen, get over here. Let me talk to you. Kobe taught a lot of guys, but where he started teaching them was after he retired. He stopped watching for a year and then went back with his daughter. Rest in peace to her as well. That's what got him back in the game. And at that point, he even admitted, this is when I started realizing I wanted to teach younger players. You should have been doing that shit after Shaq left.
Yeah.
You should have. He should have been teaching people. The reason that his last game was so amazing with the score and everyone's like, oh, it was so great, that's because all they did was give him the ball because it was his last game. That's how he wanted to thrive in basketball.
You turned this way or no way about LeBron James into shitting on Kobe Bryant.
But
all right.
He's still in Group A, but I don't know.
Above Kobe then?
Huh?
You have LeBron above Kobe?
If LeBron can win a title this year, I'd probably put LeBron above Kobe. I think he's just more of a physical specimen than Kobe Bryant was. He can play all 5 positions.
All right. Well,
and I'm not. And trust me. I got a classic blue Lakers jersey hanging, Kobe jersey number 8 hanging in my closet right now. Yeah. I will never, ever, ever own a jersey with LeBron James' name on it. Never will. Never.
And speaking of shitting on people, we're gonna get to this last one here. Because look, I'm
gonna mute my mic and just let you go nuts. You go for it, buddy. Do you want me to read it and introduce it to you? Here we go. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let you get for our last way and no way fans. If the Cardinals, who had their game today canceled, postponed, whatever you want to call it, if the Cardinals do not resume play and have to forfeit their season, they should also be vaulted to the last pick in the 2021 MLB draft, and their record should not count towards their draft position. Mr. Combs, Mr. Anti-Cardinals, Mr. Anti what they've done, top to bottom, Mr. who always talks about me and how animated I get, I give you the floor. Why don't you tell our Triple Shot fans what you think about this, way or no way?
This is an absolute way. They not only should MLB be calling them and say, look, you either put together some semblance of a team versus the White Sox starting tomorrow for the weekend series and start playing your games and start making up some of these games that you've made, which you're not going to be able to make up all of them because we got 3 weeks of games to make up now. If you can't do that, then you forfeit your season. It's getting ridiculous now. I mean, what are they going to do? What is MLB going to do with this team that has to make up 3 weeks worth of games because they decided that they wanted to go out to a club and party it up, and now all of a sudden, because they can't test negative, they can't play baseball? It's their own freaking fault. Cubs fan or not, anti-St. Louis or not, I don't care what team. If this was the Cubs, I'd be saying the same stuff. Because you guys are grown men, paid millions of dollars. And I know Soup said it before that these are grown children, who are paid millions of dollars. But you have a responsibility. You were asked for 72 days. 72 days of your multi-million-dollar ass to stay out of the clubs, to stay away from freaking other human beings as much as possible so that this doesn't happen. And what did you go and do? You decided to take a team trip to the club to go dancing and party it up for a night. And now you can't play baseball. So either form a team and put some sort of product on the field, go get your ass kicked for the next 45 days as a AAA, AA squad like the Pittsburgh Pirates seem to be, and put something on the field or get the hell away from baseball. Pisses me off.
I love seeing you finally be the one that's so animated. So it's not just about how Soup Boss just screams into the damn mic half the time. Listen, it's an aspect here. By the way, Bruins scored 2-2. The only reason I'm going to go no way is just it comes down to this thing for me with you and me where I don't know. MLB decided to have a season knowing the travel aspects and the COVID situations. And I said it up and down, and you just quoted me in it. These are grown-ass children. Most of them, not all of them, but they're grown-ass children that have been vaulted since middle school about how great they are top to bottom. Not ragging on them. If I had their skill in middle school, I'd be probably out there friggin' partying up and with COVID right now instead of sitting here in front of a webcam with you for 2 hours, 3 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 8 to 10 Eastern time. But listen, it's just an aspect of this, or I don't think they forfeit the season, but I've told you over and over in just the last week, I love your idea. I actually think it's time for MLB to say, listen, you can't play. You've got AAA players that want to play. You may not like it, but instead of you dragging the shortened season into an abrupt halt in different ways, listen, the Marlins had the issue. We found a way to get them through it, and now they're better. And they go out and win 5 games. We want to give you the chance, but if you're going to take this long, you've got to play. So, no, I don't think that it needs to be to the aspect where they forfeit the season, they drop the draft pick, blah, 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 because I told you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen. And I'm actually shocked that the Boston Red Sox and the Pittsburgh Pirates, with their abysmal fucking joke of a season, haven't gone out and just been like, screw it, we're going to go trade. Told you it was going to happen, and I told you, and I'm shocked with the NBA.
Let me ask you the question this way, then.
They got to put a team on the field.
Right,
enough is enough. Put the AAA team on the field.
Put a team on the field. But let me ask you the question this way, then, and real quick, because I do want to get to Shop Talk. I want to get to the live viewer and get some love to them. But say they have you force them to put a team on the field.
Yep.
Okay. And they put whatever team they can, they get their ass kicked, and they finish the season at 20-40. And somehow Pittsburgh finds a way to win 21 games, and St. Louis has the worst record in baseball.
Yep.
Do you still let them have the number 1 pick, considering of how they did it?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. No.
Why? How many teams take their seasons, Mr. Combs? Teams take seasons all the damn time. What's the damn difference?
No, absolutely.
If you're going to say no to that, you better start finding a way to not give the number 1 pick to teams that tank.
You're wrong.
Teams take all the damn time.
Taking is different than doing what they did.
We sat here and talked about Joe Burrow being the number 1 pick.
In the division. They won the division last year. They weren't a team that was in last place, and they're not the Marlins. They're not the Detroit
According
Tigers.
to you, that's because everyone else had a down year. You didn't say it was because they were any good.
Yeah, but they could still compete. They're not competing. You can't reward them for what they did. You can't.
But you got to have them go out there and do it. Listen, it's the aspect right now. They're all sick with COVID. That's an injury. What do you do if 7 of your players go on the field and slip on a wet field and then break their legs? You call up the AAA players. They play. That's it. That's what you do. You can't make it out as an aspect if you give them the last day of pick. Because if all their players get hurt and they call up AAA players and they get the first pick, you don't look at that team that gets the first pick and go, well, that was stupid.
Completely different scenario. Anyway, let's get to Shop Talk.
All right, guys, calm us
Shop
down.
Talk, just for you guys. Anything you guys want to talk about, again, and we say this all the time, anything that you want to talk about, we will talk about.
Anything.
You want to ask how long it took them to grow that beard? Let's ask them. Let's figure it out. Anything you guys want to talk about, we will talk about. So start hitting us up on the comments. The last 10 minutes is yours. Let us know.
Let's go, guys.
So, look, MLB teams right now,
I love your note right now in everything with what we just talked about. By the way, if we don't have shop talkers, what we should do?
Yeah.
Well, what we just talked about
it's if there's no interaction with shop. We've had a couple episodes where
I know, but you literally talked about should teams start tanking for a position in the draft.
But that's not what the Cardinals are doing, though. That's my point. Is it's completely different. Jared said
losing on purpose
is going to be different anyways, regardless of the season stats, because of some rule where teams didn't play 80 games, and Manfred is controlling the draft order this year. So I'll be very anxious. Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's the first time hearing of this.
Can you give us information on the Manfred thing? Because anything that gives me a reason to say that Manfred is the worst damn commissioner on the face of the earth, I love. So, Jared, if you could, whether it's here or personally, send that crap my way, because I didn't actually know that.
I'm going to look that up after the show, because I didn't know that. Jared also says, Soup, how did you feel about them goals the Bruins just let up in less than 2 minutes?
I felt really good after I just watched Marchand go in there and just say, screw this crap. I mean, listen, Carolina, for the hockey aspect, Carolina last year got swept. And I told Mr. Combs about this. They got swept by the Bruins last year, and yet every Boston station, WEI, Nesson, 98.5, Sports Hub, all of those, all last year during the playoffs, they kept saying, be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that said that the Bruins are going to lose to them in 7 games. This is a really good team. It doesn't shock. It doesn't shock. It doesn't shock. Yeah, I mean, and with the way the Bruins are going to round robin, Carolina's a good team, and they've got revenge on them. They're a great coach team. They're a smart team. They got swept last year. They're not going to take that lightly. If the Bruins win this series, they're winning it in 6 or 7. They're not going to win this in 4 or 5. It's just not happening.
If they win tonight, man, they could win this in 5.
But listen, with Pasta out tonight, we needed Marchand firing up, and I keep looking down here because holy cow, he got that goal. He's everywhere. He's all. I was hoping DeBrusque or one of these other guys.
He's that kind of talent, which is what drives me nuts about the way he plays the game. Because he is that. If he would focus on hockey instead of all the extracurricular stupid shit that he likes to do,
but to him, that's a part of the game.
But you're right. But if he would just focus on hockey, he could be a top 5 player in the league. He's that
part of the game. If you ask Boston fans, he is one of the top 5 players, and of course, I think they're delusional in the whole aspect of that. But it's a part of the game. We love our dirt dogs. We love them, and that's why he fits really well in Boston.
Jared, I heard them talk about it on WEEI today. They said the draft order be determined based on the records all the way back to 2018.
Wow.
I asked one of my sources about it, and he said it's not 100% confirmed yet.
We're going to do some research. We got the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And not just Jared.
We'll that on Sunday for sure.
Any of our listeners, if you know information or you've done research or you're a baseball lover as much as Mr. Combs here and you've got something about the draft, share it with us. We want to hear it. Come back into our show and let us know. Get on our wall, Triple Shot Sports, Twitter, Instagram. I don't care. Reach out to us.
We'll go back through the comments. There are some that I missed.
Okay.
Chris Jameson. What's up, Chris? So remember I talk about a sports rooms that I do where I get some of this autographed stuff. Oh, wrong hand. Autographed stuff behind me.
I do that too.
Yeah. So you get some of his autographed stuff behind me. He runs, 3 Guys Sports Breaks. Take a look on there, guys. Hey, guys, get in. I mean, he's got some fire stuff. I mean, some of the stuff I've pulled out of his room is absolutely unbelievable. Awesome. So if you're a sports collector and you like autographed memorabilia, he's a guy you got to go see because he's got some stuff and he runs an amazing room. It's him and Michael Thompson. So they do an unbelievable job. But he says Carr just needs to get over getting hurt. Needs his I think he meant confidence. Needs his confidence back. Look, I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. And a lot of people say that he's very underrated. And I've listened but I go back to what you say all the time to me is eye test.
Yep.
And look, I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. I don't think he's a guy that can carry a team or lead a team to a Super Bowl. I just don't.
He's a guy that if he does, I agree with you. And then listen, Derek Carr, his in preseason games and in practices has thrown some ridiculous throws, but that's not the real game. And his coach just is not for him. He's not. And you didn't go out and get Marcus Mariota as your backup with the thought process of we just need a quality backup. They got him there with the thought process of the second Carr slips this season, we're putting Mariota in. And that's the problem with me. If they just had a basic backup, I agree with you. Yeah, but unless Carr goes out there and is challenging Mahomes for the one spot, I just don't see it, man. I'm sorry. I like Carr, but no.
All right, guys. So that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been fun, as always. Hope you guys, if you guys want to put up your own picks on the page, put up your own picks on the page. Let us know where your guys stand with the AFC and where your picks are, who you've got winning divisions, who you've got doing what. And I mean, look, we'll gladly compare. I'm thinking about maybe even putting up together a Triple Shot Sports Fantasy Football League. So
here we go.
Maybe get some of our fans in it, see if they can take us out. We've also got some ideas. Great Debate will not be happening this week, but we are planning on taking that show and turning it into a sports trivia show. So there's a little bit of some inside information for you guys.
There you go. Good stuff.
And so we're excited for you guys. We love seeing what you guys write. We love seeing all the things that you guys are doing, interacting, sharing. We're well over 220 subscribers. We're well over 200 likes. So
gotta get more though. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram as well. YouTube, Facebook page, and even our network page, our TF network. Just we need you guys. We need you guys on all those platforms. I know we've got some great people in here. Start sharing that. Talk to your people. We talked about it last time. You guys love to talk sports. Get other people in here talking with us.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for sharing today. Take you out with some more Mises. And again, check him out because this guy is phenomenal. He has some great messages in his music. So definitely check him out. Name is Mesus, Mesus. And he is going to take us away tonight. So take us away, Mises.
Rap, let's take a walk. So you and I can have a little talk. Word is you ain't doing well. Well, I'll be damned to make two of us. I make plans for the two of us. It's a minivan, I want a tour bus. Oh, you don't want that, you do it us. I'm about to kill us both, but then blow us up. Blow us out. I'm screwing up like that. I'm rooting for us to the wrong people like a gone evil. Think of all the demons, that's true as fuck. Who joking that? Who joking tracks? Get killed by the shit that I concentrate. Y'all don't even know after to the roller tracks. The time will tell. Shit needs some open that. Now these bricks wanna die. I ain't rolled them back. And these chicks wanna holler, I ain't rolled them back. But please forgive me, I've been busy taking Roman and walked down railroad tracks.